Good afternoon. This is Kayla Bradham, your host of Legacy After the Locker Room, with today's guest, former NFL defensive back, Alex Molden. Good afternoon.
Hey, how you doing?
I am great. Thank you so much for being on the show today. And as we welcome our guests, let's just fill them in a little bit about your experience, Alex, with the NFL. As a little boy, how did you get excited about football, Alex?
Well, I tell you what, I was a late bloomer. I didn't know anything about football. We didn't watch football, college or pro. And every fall, when we start school, so I'm from Colorado Springs. I'm from Colorado Springs, and so every time we would start school, the kids would come in middle school. They would come in with their pads and their helmets and cleats and all this good stuff. And I was like, man, what is that? What are they doing? And what they would do, they thought it was so cool, number one. And then every time I went to my parents, they was like, nope, we don't have the money. We're not doing it. And so I did that for 2 years. And finally, like in 8th grade, okay, I'm going to play. Okay, you're going to play with the boys club. And so it only costs like $5 a year or something like that. So I was able to get started in that. And that was my first time playing organized football. And I fell in love with it. And, from there, just kind of kept learning. And I figured out early on, if I could develop myself in the off season, if I could start lifting weights and running and doing all this type of stuff, it would give me an edge. And so I did that every year, and it would just start to become a part of me. And it really helped me become stronger, of course, and faster. And so it just I used that. I kept, and another thing is what I would do is I would always stand in the back of the line. Any type of camps that, the University of Colorado or Colorado State or any type of camps, there was always the kids always in the front of the line. And, they want to be the leader. They want to be first. They want to do that. And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. So I'm going to stay in the back. And I figured if I stayed in the back of the line, I can be able to watch, listen to the coaching. So then by the time I got up, I should be perfect. I should be able to get it clean. And I did that. And that was the secret. That was the secret of my success early on, is I would stay in the back of the line and learn, get extra reps. And so end up, going to the University of Oregon, had a great career there. And it was a dream come true for me to get drafted and get drafted in the first round, because I've watched it for so many years. These guys are so happy and excited about their next journey. I remember watching Steve Atwater, Emmitt Smith, Deion Sanders, all these cats walk across the stage, and get their jersey from the commissioner. And me, it was a dream come true. Now later, that hard part, getting drafted in first round and all that stuff, that's the easy part. The hard part is staying in the NFL, because the average is less than 4 years, right? It's 3.2. So there's other things that you have to be able to do. It's not just how big and how fast you run a 40. Everybody else thinks that's what being in the NFL is about. How much you bench press, what's your shuttle time. That's about that much, very small. It's about how fast can you process information and then apply it in every situation. That's what, and I think your listeners can be able to agree with me on that. But it is not just in the NFL or in sports, but it's also in life. How fast can you take in the proper information and apply it and make quick decisions, the correct decisions? And I learned that early on in my NFL career.
That's great. And do us a favor, Alex. Again, this is the Legacy After the Locker Room podcast with today's guest, Alex Molden. Tell us a little bit about the teams you played for, and maybe even go so far as to tell us your favorite team.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So I was drafted by New Orleans Saints back in 1996. I played 5 years there. And then from there, became a free agent. And San Diego Chargers called me on the first day, and they wanted me. They thought I'd be a great addition. And it was a great chance for me to leave New Orleans and see what else is out there. And went there, played for 2 years under Coach Schottenheimer and Coach Mike Riley. And then from there, became a free agent again and took my services to the Washington Redskins. And now I was there for a couple of months, and I got cut. I got cut from there, like the last cut. And that stung, that hurt. That was my first time ever going through that. And I've seen it on the other side, but it's my first time going through that. So, but from there, took that to my services to the Detroit Lions. And so my last year was 2003, and I tried to stay around and hang, kept trying to stay ready, right? They always tell you to stay ready. And did that, and I ended up, retiring in 2005. But played 8 years, and, I think the best team for me was it was the San Diego Chargers. We had a lot of talent. We couldn't quite put it all together, but we had a young LaDainian Tomlinson, Hall of Famer. We had a young Drew Brees. We had a future Hall of Famer. We had Junior Seau. We had Rodney Harrison. We had a lot of good players. But with that, you got to understand, even though you're high quality players, it's still all about the team. And there was certain pieces that we couldn't put together as a team. And, I talk on that, because I do a lot of talking with corporations, individuals, executives and whatnot, who are always trying to get what is it like to be involved in a high value team atmosphere, or just, a lot of attention and detail that needs to be taken care of. And so I speak on that. I also speak on leadership, but it was just one of those things. If we would have had more of a team first mentality, and not certain players or certain times in a game where players would separate from the team and do their own thing, and they thought they was helping the team and actually was hurting the team.
That's a great message, Alex, and I'm excited to speak with you more about, teamwork and the leadership development and the coaching that you're doing now. But I do want to ask you, who's your favorite team now, Alex? Who are you rooting for? You can say the Packers.
It's
okay.
What? I'm not saying the Packers. You kidding me? You know what? It was. I guess I still cheer for it's still team and my guy, my former teammate, and Drew Brees, who is still playing with my old team, the New Orleans Saints. So I have to say the New Orleans Saints.
Fair enough. I'll take that. They're my third favorite team, so we can make that work. We can compromise. All right. So, Alex, we agree that the Saints are a great team. We also agree that family is good. One of the things that you and I have in common that very few people can brag about is we're obviously both very competitive. Each of us have 8 children.
Yes.
Super, super cool. I love the fact that, you and your wife chose to have a big family. People think we're crazy. How many times have you heard, don't you know where babies come from? What are you thinking? Why did you and your wife choose to have 8 children and not stop at the 2.3 or 2.4 like everyone else?
Right. I think it's my wife, and she is beautiful and she's smart. She has a master's in journalism. She has a minor in sports marketing, and she wanted to always be a mom. Like, to her core, she always wanted to be a mom. And so that mixed in with, she loves being pregnant. She didn't have any issues, in terms of the morning sickness or, any of that type of stuff. She never had any of that. And on top of that, it was like all our kids were breech, so they were C-section, so that, but it was one of those things that she was a natural at it. And it's, for me, it was kind of like, I'm learning and how to be a good dad, making sure I'm providing for them, not just, financially, but emotionally, make sure I'm there and I'm present. And so, yeah, it's fun. I love it. It's loud. And we look at it now. Like 3 was our number. And we had 3 boys. And, we look at it now. Our third, he's 18. He just graduated high school. If we would have stopped at 3, that would be it. We would be empty nesters. He's about to go off to college. So, but no, we kept going. And so, it's fun. Our youngest is 6, our oldest is 24. And like I said, it gets loud. And we don't think about it until we travel or until the holidays come and we're having dinner and everybody's at the dinner table. That's when it's like, we're crazy. What were we thinking?
I can't help laughing. My children are 6 to 22, and I love going out to eat, and people's heads are just bobbing up and down, counting us as we walk through the line
Yes.
to get a table, right? I just love
Absolutely.
it. And I guess, Alex, I just want to ask you, what advice, clearly you're experienced, you're an experienced dad. What advice do you have for the fathers out there?
What advice? Be present. That's the first, is being present. Meaning, like I just took my daughter. She had a soccer practice. And I went out there, and I was like, and of course, I have a lot of things that I got to do to provide. But when I go out there, even just for an hour, I make sure that I'm there. I'm not checking the scores. I'm not shooting off text messages that I might have meant to do the other day or emails and like that. I'm just there for her. Yeah, I don't do a whole bunch of cheering and whatnot. I'm there for her. So when she looks up, and she does a lot, she knows that I'm there. I'm present. I'm watching her. So being present. And the second thing is like giving them room to make mistakes. Giving them room to make mistakes. And the third thing is making sure that, like, when they do make those mistakes, and they're going to come, right? They're going to come. But I want to always give my kids something that when they do hit a roadblock and they do hit, they do come up with failure, right? A test, boyfriend and girlfriend breakup or whatever, or in sports, that when they fail, they can overcome it. And that's something that as parents, we first want to protect them. We want to stop that failure, that feeling and all that. I want them early on to overcome failure. Because in life, we know those people. Some of them, it might be us. When we fail, we just stop in our tracks. And then we might even start backpedaling. I want to be able to take, and I've done this, and it took me a while to be able to hit failure, whether it's coming from the outside or my own self, see it, understand that failure, and how do I move past that? How do I use that as a strength? How do I use that to better myself? And that's what I teach my clients.
Alex, that's great. Again, this is Kayla Bradham, your host of the Legacy After the Locker Room podcast with Stables Media, here today with our guest, Alex Molden. Alex, really great advice on being present, being a father who's involved. I know you have a book coming out that's really going to talk about some of those leadership qualities. Tell us a little bit about your book, Alex.
Yeah, so my book is